had one cancel because they figured out that they didn't want to spend the rest of their lives together due to quarantine. So
marital
they canceled
planning.
because they were hanging out together at home by themselves. They figured out they really didn't like each other.
That's funny.
Wow.
That's sad.
Well, at least they found out now.
Yeah.
Cheaper than a
Silver lining
divorce
somewhere,
attorney.
right?
That's
At least
wild.
he didn't get suckered into alimony for the rest of his life. That would have been good.
Oh,
Tricky.
sore subject.
Oh yeah, trust me, I'm there, right there with you, Scott.
Oh, man. Okay.
So wild times out here.
Let me go back.
How'd your grocery do, Justin? Did you guys do full grocery items?
Yeah, what was available. I mean, obviously, it was starting to get a little limited there at the end. So rather than
Right.
trying to piecemeal stuff together, we just worked with Cisco on it, and
Right.
I'm glad it's over. I mean, it was fine, but I'm much happier doing this than I am walking people through walk-in coolers and haggling over the price of a bell pepper.
Yeah, we did an online market, and we basically stocked up and about 160 items and dropped it in people's trunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Started off really strong, and then just kind of, it's just falling apart.
Yeah, same for us. First 2 weeks we were probably doing more in grocery than we were in regular takeout business, and then it kind of shifted.
Yeah, us too.
Hey, Steve.
So.
Steve, good morning.
How you doing?
Thought you'd have a cigar on with you during the call.
That sounds good. Except I haven't spoken to Doug.
Man. So we got everybody but the other Steve, who he should be joining. But when we start off, I'm going to kind of go around the room and just kind of introduce yourself. I mean, everybody has seen the bios and everything just a little bit, and then we're going to kind of go through that list of questions. But, anybody can answer any question. I kind of was thinking it's like a debate almost. You ask each candidate a question, and they're all entitled to answer it. But if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to. You can make up your own questions. You can bring up whatever you want. But I think the first question could be a while, just talking about what it looks like for you post-COVID.
I talked to a couple of guys already here too, and just, the Q&A is open. The general population that's going to be on this call will not see the Q&A, but we will. So we'll just sort of, if there's questions in there, we'll randomly pick those and share them with you guys.
No. Malcolm, you go in and out of picture, by the way.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Are you on your phone, Malcolm, or are you on a computer?
No, I'm on the computer.
It's usually what happens when you minimize or close out that window. It takes your picture away.
My first Zoom meeting ever, by the way.
Oh, nice. This is my first today. We've lived on this for however long it's been.
Greg, you're just such a great speaker, though. So
right. Thanks.
I'm actually using my daughter's Zoom account right now, so I had to get permission. She's 10.
I had my girlfriend set me up a Zoom account this morning at 8:30.
Nice. Hey, Greg, what's going on with McAllister's? Did something go on down there? I hear bits and pieces, but I don't know if it's true.
So the day they shut down the restaurants, the owner goes in. I guess there's a couple owners, and one of the owners went in and turned all the natural gas on, threw chairs and tables through the windows, destroyed the restaurant, and then was trying to set it on fire.
What?
And then the cops showed up, and then because they saw a guy throw a chair through the window, and so then the cops showed up, and it turned into a high-speed chase, and the guy got away. And I don't know where the hell he went, but the cops have been sitting out in front of McAllister's every day since for 6 weeks.
Wow.
So supposedly it was drugs and, debt and going through a divorce. I really don't know. It was crazy though.
I heard most of
So-
that. I didn't know about the natural gas part.
Yeah, he turned all the gas on, and the building was trying to light it, blow it up, which
Really?
probably would have not. Well, he didn't. I guess he doesn't understand natural gas.
So I'm guessing they're not going to reopen.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're out. So I guess if you want to open up a restaurant in Lakewood Ranch Main Street,
There you go, Justin.
it's available.
Kittens at Lakewood Ranch.
Got it.
Yeah, can't make this shit up.
It's not big enough for a ball and chain though, but that would be cool.
That would be cool. Have you been?
Yeah, we were there in January.
Oh, you guys went on the cruise, right?
That's an experience I won't forget.
You had a good time?
Yeah, from what I remember. Yeah, it was,
Lauren, that is an incredible operation you got there.
Yeah, thank you. Did you guys check out Los Altos as well?
We did.
Okay.
yeah,
We were surprised by Los Altos, of course.
Yeah.
You walk up the stairs, a seedy staircase, so to speak. It's
Yeah.
really not, but it's got that perception, and you walk up there and it's just this tiny little candy store with all this imported candy, and it's really, really cool in itself. And
Yeah.
then the lady working there says, "Do you know the password?" And we're like, what are you talking about? And all of a sudden, all of us looked at each other and just said, "Tequila." Because we're in Mexico, or we're in
Right.
we're in Los Altos, and she opens this fake door and we walk in, and it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a special venue. I'm glad you guys had a good time.
We did. Now I know we're probably not going to hit on this before, like when everybody jumps on, Lauren, but man, that story you were telling me about yesterday's takeout was outrageous. Miami's not open yet, but Lauren says more yesterday in takeout than he would on a normal Saturday.
We all have had those days in the business where we wish we didn't have those days. And as we get older, they happen fewer and far between. But yesterday was one of those days. It was insane. Cops showed up twice because of the crowds outside. Almost shut us down. I think the news channel showed up this morning. We upset a lot of people, but we'll recover them, and we were able to capture some sales, so that's good. But yeah, it was insane.
Did you do some promotion, or was it just takeout with beaches open, or what?
No, we're actually not on the beach, but no, just Cinco de Mayo. So
Oh, okay.
everybody was ordering Cinco de Mayo. Apparently, this was happening all over the state, according to the police. That Mexican venues all over the state were just crowds outside, and
Yeah. That's the problem in our industry, right? Is that people are gonna not follow the guidelines and fuck it up for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not only guests, but it's also the delivery drivers for all the different, outlets. They could care less, really. They're doing a job. They just want to get their stuffing out. So
Yeah, you weren't even open, right?
so yeah,
you weren't open for anything. It was all takeout.
all takeout.
Incredible.
We do more in takeout than what we do on a busy Saturday, our busiest Saturdays when the venue is open.
Wow.
Yeah. And just food, not including liquor. I mean, we did some liquor, but yeah, it was insane.
So what do you guys think about the wait in your car and have the people bring you a cocktail in your car?
I think it's bizarre.
The freaking most bizarre guideline ever.
It
went
is
to,
nothing like promoting drinking and driving, but Scott and I
Yeah.
experienced that firsthand.
Malcolm and I went to Mellow Mushroom to pick up a couple pizzas, and I brought a growler because they had a beer I'd been wanting to try. And she said, "Would you like anything else to drink?" And I said, "Well, I don't know what you mean." She's like, "Well, the car before you just ordered 4 mojitos to go."
To go, yeah.
It's crazy. All right, these are
Takes the roadie to a whole nother level, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it puts a lot of restaurants at risk, though. If that one of those guys gets in an accident, it's over.
all right, guys. I don't know where Mr. Oh, he can't log in. What the heck?
Who are you looking for, Steve?
Oh, yeah.
Greg, we found a way to do our frozen drinks, and we sell them out of our food truck right now.
Really?
Yep. I sold
Love it.
30 frozen drinks out of the food truck on Saturday.
Wow.
Wow.
We have these like little Capri Sun pouches, and we freeze them.
Uh-huh.
So it takes about 20 minutes to get to that right consistency. So we
Yeah.
hope they don't drink it while they're waiting for the food, but they can take it home and drink it by the pool or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's worked
Like-
out.
All these new business models jumping up everywhere, huh?
Lawless society with alcohol for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I've got people that are trying to get in. So I think some of these conversations that we're having right now are appropriate for this webinar. We may hit 2 questions on the list and kind of just have an open dialogue. So hopefully Steve is able to get on. But in the meantime, I'm going to make this go live.
All right.
Give me 1 second. Yep, they're starting to come on board. Welcome, everybody. Can you guys see the list of the attendees on the side?
No.
No.
Nope.
Participants, but
I think
There's a icon on the bottom that says participants. Then you can click on it, and attendees is one of the tabs.
Yeah. All right. It is weird that I can see who's on there, but I can't see them. But we'll roll with it. So, guys, welcome to the first EHS webinar. The topic is post-COVID hiring solutions, and what does that look like for these clients of ours? So, we're going to go through some preset questions. There's a Q&A at the bottom if you have anything you'd like to be addressed. And but first, we're going to kind of go around, have everybody introduce themselves. So, I don't know if we're in the same order, but let's start with Justin.
How you doing? I'm Justin Pashota from Venice Pier Group, owners of Snookhaven, Sharkies on the Pier, and Fins at Sharkies.
Cool. Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Brown. I'm General Manager of Pop's Sunset Grill in Nokomis, Florida.
Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren Abraham, Director of Operations for Mad Room Hospitality down here in Miami, Florida.
Steve.
Steve Drentham, Director of Operations for Burned by Rocky Patel, lounges in Florida and a few other states.
And Greg.
Yep, I'm Greg, Director of Operations and Executive Chef for Pier Restaurant, Grove Restaurant, Pier Catering, Corwin's, Bell's Bistro, amongst a few other things.
Gotcha. Well, thank you. Steve Phelps should be on here momentarily. So we'll hopefully he'll be able to log on here. So, all right. So as I said, this is a post-COVID conversation. So first question really is, what does post-COVID look like for your company? What are you all doing? What have you been doing? That question kind of came from a conversation we had with Stephanie a few weeks ago. And she said, I'm really just going to treat this like a new restaurant opening. And that kind of hit us like, wow, that's a good way of looking at this. So anybody who wants to jump in, feel free and let us know what you think.
Well, I've taken a hard look at our business model. When they shut us down, 6 weeks ago, 6.5 weeks ago, we quickly looked into a new model. When we went to 50% capacity, we were already trying to make a decision on how to negotiate, the loss of sales volume. So we quickly went to a grocery store model where we had to build a form site online for people to go fill up their basket full of whatever food they needed because the grocery stores were in such bad shape. So we started packing about 100, 120 items on groceries and out of the back of trucks that we solicited from our food service providers, and started off really strong. We were doing somewhere between 60, 80 orders a day, doing it the day before. Within a few days after that, we were able to get it down to 4 hours in advance if you order your groceries, and then quickly got on the third day down to 1 hour. And so people were ordering, alcohol, booze restriction, all the booze restrictions, were lifted. So we were packing, bottles of Tito's and cases of beer and wine and, meat and ground beef. And, we really moved quickly with the support of our broadliner, which was Performance Food Groups. And they were really huge. It was a huge deal. We only had the managers working. We had to furlough all of our employees, of course, and but we kept all the management staff on at both locations, at Pier, at Grove, and then we also over at our commissary that we do food service for Bell's and Tropicana corporate offices. So we had about 2,800 employees over there that were using the service. It was quite the undertaking. I can tell you, Tropicana picked up. They were big time for us. They decided, because they were doing so much orange juice, people were consuming vitamin C, so their plant went to 190%. And so they called us up and said they have 900 employees, and they did breakfast or they did lunch or 2 meals a day, 900 employees a day for 3 days a week for a month. And so it was a huge win. It was about $140,000 worth of box lunches. So that was a really big deal for us to be able to make those management payrolls going through. So we had a couple of other instances where, guests bought, large lumps of gift certificates and said, hey, we want to support you. And we told them, when we get back up and running, we'll buy them back from you. It was a really interesting deal. It was quite the experience that we've been through. We started doing meals to go instead of doing, just regular to go meals. We did family style meals at a lower price point than they would get in the restaurant. And then, right now we're working diligently on meal kits, chef driven, locally sourced ingredients to put in these meal kits so that people can go home and, cook their own meal, restaurant style, but, all the prep's done for them. They're in sealed packages, kind of like the meal kits that you would find from Blue Apron or some of those other ones. So that's a business model that we see moving forward permanently. So,
Great.
we're going to try to keep doing the groceries. It's really fallen off big time since they opened restaurants, and we've only got 2 or 3 orders at each restaurant today. So we'll probably see that go away, by the end of the weekend. And hopefully Mother's Day we get a nice bump with to-goes and family meals type stuff over at Pier. Grove's open for business. Pier's not yet. We have to do some additional maintenance, so we'll open Pier next Wednesday. So that's where we're at.
Hey, Steve. Steve, unmute. Hey, Steve.
Hey, guys.
Hey, welcome to the party. This Chef Steve Phelps from Indigenous here in sunny Sarasota. We just did a little intro, and we were going through the first question, which was, what do you think post-COVID looks like for your restaurant? And if you want to be the second person to answer, you can, or we can come back to you. That's where we're at.
Well, I usually don't have this much time to sit down, so that's not a good sign. From our perspective, we've been shutting down for our dining room, and I have no plans to open that back up right away. We went immediately into takeout when this all went down, and I started just doing the full week and ended up just going to Friday and Saturday because I think too many people don't dine at your restaurant twice a week. And once we did that, Friday and Saturday became quite busy for us. So we made that move, and now we're just reviewing, the next steps to make that takeout game a little better and try to start making some other changes too.
Gotcha. Stephanie.
Sorry, I'm back on. We actually started doing takeout, and we identified, we planned in advance someday to do takeout, focus on that, someday to maybe do dockside carry out, but our kitchen was having trouble keeping up with dine-in, so we had that on the back burner. We rolled out the takeout, dockside and curbside because of COVID, and realized that it's not just something we should do, but there's really a big demand for the dockside carryout. We had guest managers on at that time, and we've since been able to bring everybody back on to payroll. So we'll plan on doing that. We're going to add a takeout component, specifically catering to the dockside. You know, we can sell drinks dockside anyway, so it's really a big opportunity for us. You mentioned earlier that I said we were treating this like a new store opening, and we're definitely doing that. We're excited. You know, obviously there's a lot of sadness and stress that comes with all that we've been going through, but we're trying to make the best of all of it and look at all of the components of our restaurant from the top down and really make changes right now and reorganize, restructure. We did trim the fat a little bit, and we're going to come out of this stronger than we were before.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I think for us, this was Red Tide was the dry run for COVID-19, being a beachfront. Obviously, Stephanie, you know that. So moving forward, I mean, we learned a lot of things from that about the importance of retention during that period of time. We didn't lay off any employees. We guaranteed everybody 15 hours a week if they wanted that. Most cases, people were willing to step away, take the unemployment, and go that route. Communication was the biggest piece of the retention at that point. So we went to all digital newsletters. We sent out, we kind of set up an e-blast for our employees. We were sending out 1 or 2 messages a day for each of them. Everybody's probably seen, I do a lot of FaceTime or Facebook videos for sunsets. And I was doing the same thing for employees, just trying to send out with a little bit more of a personal touch. And fortunately, coming back, when that call to service came back, everybody was, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but about 80% of the folks were ready to come back. So much easier to implement all the new changes, all the policies, the cleanliness standards with existing employees that already understand your menu, your point of sale, and focus in on just the details of, you know, how are we sanitizing, the mask policies, temperature policies, you know, and things like that. So moving forward, I hope that really we end up somewhere in that 90% return rate, and then I'm not really looking for a huge hiring influx.
Real quick, by the way, because my phone is blowing up. Those of you that are attendees on this call, we can't see you, we can't hear you. So just FYI. All right, sorry. Steve.
You know, a little bit different. We have a little different business model with Burn. You know, we only have a couple restaurants associated with our lounges. So we've really had to take a deep dive look at how we're going to go forward. We actually shut down all operations when the state, you know, pulled the plug at each location. We weren't allowed to have curbside service because the majority of our sales came from the bar. But because we put an emphasis on the guests enjoying cigars and enjoying alcohol and food offered in just 2 of our locations, it's really caused us to go back and relook at how we're going to move forward with this. Atlanta, and I know this is outside the Florida market, but just as far as the restaurant that we have there, it's really a challenge for our demographic and our market base and the guests that we're going after to give them a level of confidence coming back into the restaurant. So when we talk about post-COVID, we're not post-COVID yet. I believe we're right in the thick of it. And really going forward in the opening, just like Stephanie said, we're looking at it, the new store opening. How are we going to give our guests a level of confidence to come back in and feel comfortable enjoying a cigar in the aftermath of what we've gone through? So the challenge has been, and I'm jumping ahead on all your questions, Scott, and I don't want to override it, but it's really taking a look at what we do from the base training. When we orientate a new employee, or when we reorientate some of our employees that are coming back, how do we go forward and train them in order to provide the guests the level of confidence to come back in to an enclosed atmosphere to enjoy a dining experience, cocktails, and a cigar. So ours is really relatively unique, and that's going to be our biggest challenge. And we've been talking about that nonstop for the better part of 8 weeks, you know, and especially now that we've gone this long, recapturing our guests and retraining our staff in order to provide that experience is going to be our marching orders going forward in that retraining structure.
You know, you and I were talking the other day about the difference in how you've got the moisture aspect of exhaling of the smoke. What are you
I
hearing?
mean, we're putting people at 6 feet apart, which is fine, but then even though cigar smoke is not inhaled, when you blow the smoke out, it's still going to have moisture particles from the respiratory system. So how do you make a guess, or how do you work in that business model going forward after such a emphasis has been placed on social distancing? So that's going to be our biggest challenge. And with our restaurants, we made the decision not to do curbside or open up. We've done quite a bit online with Rocky Patel Premium Cigars, but as far as opening our kitchens, it was such a small percentage of our sales. We chose not to open our kitchens and to continue to work on ways that we can make the restaurant more attractive to our guests and a safer environment for our staff to come back in and take care of those guests.
Yeah, if you're not talking, someone needs to mute their. Someone's got something in the background, I think. No, that's interesting.
Can I add something? We've been open. I'm going to add something to the training part, just because we did open on Monday over at Grove, and we set up tables all outside along the porte cochere on the paver area. So we added probably 40 tables to the outside dining. What we found very quickly is that the employees that we have coming back haven't worked for 6 weeks, and it was very challenging the first day to get people to understand how to work hard again, because they got into some really bad lazy habits. And if anybody's planning on reopening soon, I would say you need to bring them in a day early and go through it with them, because it got better yesterday. I'm really interested to see how aggressive they are today. But from sanitizing and sanitizer stations and spray bottles and all that stuff, they're just not. They don't get it. They don't. I'm having a struggle with the hourly employees really fully understanding. So we brought back all the best too. We brought only the best of them back for the first run. And it's amazing to see the difference, and the way that their work ethic was since they left. It takes 21 days to build a habit. And I think a lot of these folks have, way surpassed 21 days. So I just throw a little lob warning out to people that, we really need to, you really need to try to take a look at that training process. I agree with you, Steve. I think it's critical that training is first and foremost.
One of the things that Florida, I should say that Atlanta has done a lot different than Florida, and has made it a lot easier for the operator to actually take that and put together a training model, is they've dictated exactly the behaviors of our staff when it comes to the cleaning, disinfecting of the unit, and then the sanitation. It's a 3-part step. It's in a remediation step. So really going on what you said, before it was hard enough to keep our staff focused on what their daily duties were and they're running cleanups. Now it's a whole new level. Now it pertains to demonstrating to the guests that we're able to execute safely when we take care and concern them with what they're going forward. So yeah, it was a challenge before. It's even more of a challenge now. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, and then even how to wear the masks.
Yeah.
There's so many points. There's so many points that that first day we're chasing people around like, no, you got to put gloves on before you deliver the food. No, take the gloves off. No, it's like this constant. It was like constant. It's because it's a whole different gig from when they left. And not wearing their masks right. The masks are here, and their nose is hanging out. It's like having a condom with a tip cut off. It's like, it's unbelievable. So it's like, how do you retrain them? How do you teach them? How do you how do you even the managers, that we have some great managers, but then getting them to understand and be able to direct people properly, and get them to buy into the masks, and because there's it's so divisive. It's 40% of the people are against us opening, 40% of the people want us to be open, and then there's 20% that are going, I don't know who's safest. We'll find the safest place to go and we'll go there. And we were approached by a ton of people, came face to face after we opened up Grove, and they were like, wow, you guys did an amazing job. We've got sanitizer stations all through the dining room. We've got, we got, poster boards up, saying what we're doing. I mean, we've really gone, the extra mile, and we course, we had, a week to plan the reopening because, DeSantis gave us, 7 days. So it was a, true scramble to get back open. So anyway.
Hey, Lauren, I muted you.
Yeah.
You're the one with the feedback. Can you?
Yeah, down in Miami, we haven't reopened yet. We're still locked down and only takeout delivery. But I think Steve made a really good point in finding the balance between, the comfort level of the safetiness and still being able to provide the guest experience that you want to provide, I think is really going to be the task for us. Obviously, we want everyone to feel safe and comfortable coming into the venue, but we also want to ensure we're still providing that guest experience that made them come before. Because the truth is that if it's too much in your face, it's uncomfortable, then guests are just going to go. They're going to go to their friend's house or they're going to go somewhere else. And everybody has a different level of comfortability. So trying to really understand that, we're not going to please everybody. I think that's just the reality. We have to understand that, so we have to figure that out. And that's going to that's going to take a little bit of time. That's going to take some time once we get back in the groove and really see how people respond. Training is critical. You guys have said it. It's going to really require our managers to be engaged fully at all times, and even probably more engaged in the little details, obviously, than they have been in the past. It's, like I said, we haven't opened yet. I think maybe June 1st is what we're looking at for Miami. So we're starting to put together all of our plans. We're getting everybody retrained on our food handlers. Even if they took it a month ago, they're still going to go back and get the retraining. All managers are going to get retrained on all their manager certifications. And just, I think it's important to keep it top of mind. As you get going and you get moving and we get back to doing what we're doing, those other things can tend to get lost because you get back into the habit. So keeping it top of mind, keeping it in front of our teams, face behind the scenes, behind the doors, I think is critical as well. There are pre-shift meetings, before each shift. And like Justin said, he has he sends out communication to his teams. And so being able to communicate with our teams consistently through the social media platforms, I think will be critical for us, but it won't be perfect. It'll be challenging. And at the end of the day, we're not going to please everybody. So I think that's important for everybody to understand, is that we can't, it's impossible. So we just have to find that space that we really feel comfortable with.
Lauren, one of the things that we did before we opened was we set up a SurveyMonkey account and put all the key items on there and send it out to all of our guests. Are you comfortable? How comfortable do you feel with someone wearing a mask? Will you feel more comfortable or less comfortable? If a server were to bring a pen to your table, would you feel more comfortable if they brought a disposable pen to the table? Would you feel more comfortable if they wore gloves? I mean, a series of questions that, maybe you thought of, it really worked for us. And it was amazing. It was like, some of the things were 50-50 split. So those are the ones you go with, right? You go, okay, 50, half say yes, half say no. So, okay, we'll go with that. But then there were a couple of the questions that we put out there that were like 80% of the people said, I would feel more comfortable with, disposable salt and pepper shakers, as opposed to wiping them down. So, I think maybe your clients, you could, or everybody's clients, you could take a look and maybe put some type of survey directly to the people that dine with you on what they would feel is more responsible or less responsible, just to throw a lob out to you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Absolutely.
I like it.
I think, Lauren, what you said it resounded in my head. How are we going to say no to the guests in the most positive way? Because we're, like you said, we're not going to be able to please everybody, but there's going to be restrictions on how many people we can let in at any point in time, and how well can we manage that. Everyone on this call can probably manage that without any problems whatsoever. How do we teach our managers to teach our employees how to handle that?
Right.
How do we teach that host at the front door to go, I'm sorry, we're at capacity. I can't allow you even to wait in the lobby. You have to wait outside. So we've gotten into the habit, or I've gotten in the habit, never to say no to the guest. Now we have to learn how to say no tactfully to keep the guest self-esteem and keep that guest engaged. So you hit the nail on the head. We're not going to please everybody, but how well can we please everybody? You know, that's still going to be our goal. So I like that. That was good.
Excellent points. Unless somebody else has something to say. we can
Yeah,
move-
hey Scott, I was just gonna, before they jump off of that,
Yeah, what
has
time-
anybody thought,
Real quick, Lauren, I think that feedback is coming from you.
It's not coming from me.
Oh, because I muted you at one point and it went away. So maybe it's, well, maybe not.
Okay.
Or maybe your phone's there. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Okay, gotcha.
Go ahead, Malcolm.
I was just gonna, has anybody thought about eliminating tables from their dining room to meet the actual capacity that
Yes.
will be
Yes,
given
I
to
think
you?
I think that is a great point. We remove tables out of our dining room as opposed to skipping a table and putting a table tent saying this table doesn't work. You can't sit here. Removing the table from a perception standpoint was way better than just putting a stanchion on it. It just looks better. It feels better. It doesn't look like, it's all perception, right? And what people feel
Right.
comfortable with. And so
And if
we
you do
remove
hit
them.
And if you do hit capacity, that's a great perception as well, because it,
Right. And then you're at 25% capacity with the tables you have. Unfortunately, excuse me, over at Grove, we have a lot of booth seating there, so we weren't able to do it as well as we could do it at Pier. But removing the tables definitely made a huge difference to the look and the feel of walking into the dining room. So that would be a big recommendation that I would throw out to people, because it does look good, and people were commenting on the fact that wow, you guys are totally socially distanced, because it's perception. If you see the tables real close together, you're like, wow, they're not practicing social distancing. I drove by a couple outdoor bars or restaurants that have outdoor seating on sidewalks, and all the tables were squeezed together outside like they always were, but they were seated every other table. So the perception when I drove by, I was like, wow, they're not separating their tables 6 feet apart, but they actually were, because they were skipping tables. But a normal average guest isn't going to see that, isn't going to realize that they're skipping tables.
Yeah, one thing, speaking of that, one thing that we've been thinking about and we are a little bit concerned of is once we reopen, we're concerned that if we adjust our floor plan and tables, that once city officials come in to confirm, they will then use that floor plan against us in some capacity down the road, and say, no, this is your new revised floor plan. So for us, I think we may take the approach of leaving the tables in place and just I don't know, we're stanching them off, but we're not sure yet. But that is one of our concerns, is not giving the city, Miami officials anything that can prohibit us or cause us challenges down the road when we are able to get back to full capacity.
Gotcha. Good. Hey, Malcolm, I was muting you. We figured out it's you on your end. We took
Way
a
to go, Malcolm.
Yeah. All right. What positives have you guys seen come out of this?
I would say
Can't think of any.
from our employee perspective, I know exactly where every employee stands as far as loyalty, commitment, communication. It's increased our communication with our employees. The ones that want to be here they've been communicating more with us than we have with them. So I feel really good about the staff I see in the building every single day right now. I feel better about them than I ever have before. So, Greg's point about there was some slacking, those folks haven't come back yet for us. The ones that are here really, they're excited about being back. They're probably happier today than they were, when they were stressing in March about the crowd. So I'm hoping that maybe this process will keep the committed, at a high level, and the ones that maybe weren't in it, they saw what we did during the time, and they've got a refreshed viewpoint on where they work.
Yeah, I think for us, really, and I noticed this yesterday with Cinco de Mayo because we just got hammered on Cinco, but the trust that's been built between our leadership team, our management team, and going through this, I think is going to have long-lasting impacts as we move forward and kind of get back in the saddle. I think that's been the biggest positive. I was, we're cooking. We're the managers are the ones that are preparing the food, washing dishes, everything, serving, making drinks. And when you spend 2 to 3 months with your leadership team kind of in the trenches doing that on a daily basis, I think it really solidifies your team as you move forward. And really, trust is critical in the effectiveness of great teams, trusting each other. And so I think that's the biggest positive. The other one is, the delivery process, really understanding that more, realizing that has to be part of your model, and how can you maximize that, understanding the delivery platforms and really how they work and really what they mean to your bottom line. And so I think those are the two biggest positives for us.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of creativity being born through this. Our menu had to go from being a little bit more upscale to getting down into a mid-scale range. And it was great to see, and I agree with Lauren too, you've got your power people here. And I've seen a couple of my cooks who were really, always treading lightly to give you an idea about something, whether it be food or actually an operation issue. And now people have come up, they're just starting to use their brains in different ways. They're creating food that we can run a little bit more. I think that what we've learned here over the past month is that the food we create needs to be something that someone can't do at home right now. Everybody's, watching videos and trying to cook. And so these guys are coming up with ideas that, the first thing I said to him, I said, "Can you make this at home?" He goes, "I would, but I'd destroy my kitchen and my wife would kill me." So I think that we're trying to let this creative flow continue. And I had one of the guys took 2 pieces off of our fence outside to make a walk-up station for our takeout. I mean, we had a fence that goes around the building, and he took 2 of the top pieces off and he said, "Let them walk up there. They could stay on the other side." And I think that that's what we're trying to continue to do. And we are seeing it daily, from our sanitation issues and things like that to the food. But I think there's just this wide open door to let these people give you that advice that they never had the opportunity before. So what I've been doing with these guys is saying, hey, on Saturdays, will you submit any idea for our food, for our menu, or anything else you could help with our production on our takeout, or anything else later internally in the restaurant that'll be something we could utilize. And I've noticed that the shyness has gone away. And it's really helped, the guys that used to go, "Well, I'm not telling chef that," or "I'm not going to tell the manager that." Now they're saying it because they know that their word is going to be heard more than it ever was because of this.
I'll just say that our management team has been the only staff actually working in-house. And we've really bonded and gotten a lot closer. And I think we're definitely a stronger team going back. We're reopening tomorrow. We've also been communicating with all of our staff a lot. At minimum, every week we contacted each person one-on-one to see where they are. So I think Greg mentioned that we really have a pulse on each individual employee. And we were able to create meal kits for them. We made prime rib sandwiches for them one day to come pick up complimentary from us. We did something every week for all of our employees. We gave them all cash as like a little pre-stimulus to kind of help with the lag in unemployment or whatever services were being given to people. So I think we built a lot of trust with our staff. Everybody's excited to be back. They've all been here on a schedule, social distanced, of course, getting the restaurant ready to reopen. We're all excited. we've been touching base with our community a lot as well through social media and just like engaging and responding to people. We've been live streaming music from Pops in order to give people a little of that experience, the Pops experience from home. That's been really positive as well.
Yeah, learning is what we probably did the most. There were so many, the thing was so fluid and changing, all the different changes to the payroll protection program, all of the, turning into a grocery store, doing meal kits, doing, family style meals to go, everything was so fluid and happened so fast. It was incredible training for everybody involved, all my management team. We learned so much from day one, what we can do, what we can't do, what we're good at, what we're not good at. People doing things like building that form site. I had 3 employees build a Amazon level form site for groceries in 3 days. It was amazing that they pulled together so quickly to create these new, this new business model we were forced to become. That was probably one of the biggest positives, was how quickly the management team could be fluid through the fluidity of the government, and the regulations and the changes that were coming at us so freaking fast. So this whole thing's been crazy, and keeping people working. We did a lot of stuff for employees as well, and I will resonate with Justin on the communication with employees. We call them every 2 or 3 days. We have 300 plus employees, and we got, it's like you got to call them every 2 or 3 days to make sure they're signing up for unemployment, giving them the support. We got a whole bunch of tips from all of our to-go food, and we put that into a pile for them. So if they couldn't get unemployment and they couldn't make rent or they couldn't buy diapers, that we were there for them. And so it was definitely try to show as much support for them as we possibly could, through all this, because that's really what it was all about. This whole thing's really about trying to keep good care of the people that have been busting our ass for us for so long, and my hopes is that it worked. My hopes is that they come back and they appreciate that. And also, the community, trying to do what's right for the community and doing what's right for our guests and our patrons is first and foremost, aside from the staff. Creating the groceries for, the elderly that don't want to go to Publix. That was a big thing for us, was like, Publix and the grocery stores were doing a terrible job at the beginning of this thing to keep it clean. I went into the Publix on Manatee Avenue, and, I go to get a grocery cart. They're like, I'm sorry, we're out of wipes. We can't even wipe down the grocery cart. And it was unbelievable. Unfortunately they picked winners and losers in this deal. And, we were the first ones to be the losers, even though we were, the people on this panel, are all, top-notch operators that could have figured that out and socially distanced properly and followed those regulations. It's unfortunate, that there are so many other restaurateurs out there that just don't care, that don't want to follow those rules and regs. I mean, I went out yesterday for Cinco de Mayo, and I saw Mexican places packed to the hilt, side by side, no social distancing. It was, that those are the ones that are going to ruin it for us. And if we can get the message out to them that they really need to figure this out, or maybe there's some type of inspection that happens in these restaurants by the health department, somebody out there that needs to regulate the people that are screwing it up for the ones that are really care and doing the right thing. Sorry, I went on a tangent there.
Oh, that's good.
Positive. But
that's good.
I went straight from positive to all the things I'm pissed about. So I apologize for that. But
no worries. We had a question on the Q&A. I know a couple of you guys have received it, but somebody wrote here, were you all able to participate in the federal PPP and where that stands?
We received our funding late last week.
Yeah, we got our numbers, and we're awaiting funding now.
Gotcha.
We're in the same boat. We're actually supposed to get some good news today. We got a legal team that's really been aggressive on it. Our EIDL loan obviously was very small, and that went quick. But yeah, I think it is important to just stay on top of that stuff right now, whether you have a tax attorney or any other kind of legal team who can help follow through with their connections. I got more information from my lawyers than I would have from myself. I'm not a legal guy at all. So it was amazing to have them work on that. And the information we got yesterday was super. So we're hoping to have that this week too.
Awesome.
Glad to hear you got that support, Steve. That's awesome.
Hey,
there was another question that Justin had replied to, but on the Q&A, has there been a reasonable way for you all to modulate your POS systems to your newer business model as an online to-go delivery? What POS systems are you using to facilitate that?
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, we use Toast, and you know, the modules that they have are all in. They basically force them to put all kinds of different delivery modules and pick up to go modules, and we're in beta mode with them. So they were very, very slow to react to our issues. You know, we're trying to build a grocery store model. We had to go to FormSite, build it ourselves because they had no module that would even work with it. They couldn't accept gift certificates. They couldn't accept, our dining club cards. You know, they couldn't take, payment other than it was through PayPal. It was a real struggle, at the beginning with them. And so we're still waiting on QR codes for menus. We're still waiting for, Apple Pay, Google Pay at the table, because that's one thing, the touchless payment system, they do not have figured out at all. I mean, at all. They've got this little module that they can print, and it's not even live yet. And so they have to take a picture of the QR code, which will bring up their bill, but you have to download the app from Toast to your phone to be able to use that. There's no Apple Pay, there's no Google Pay, there's nothing, so they're way behind as far as I'm concerned. I think they've done a terrible job as far as supporting us on this delivery takeout module.
Greg, who was your POS system previous to all this for your restaurant?
We had Aloha about 2 years ago, but we've been over at Toast for about 2.5, 3 years now, I think.
Okay.
And they're the most forward-thinking, module for restaurants out there. They're the most technologically advanced at this point from a online presence, digital presence. And now we're moving into a digital world. I mean, they did an awful job. Really, in all honesty, I would say that I gave them a D- as far as assisting us with setting up these modules. I don't know how, and that was one of the first things that we went after 6 weeks ago, and we still don't have, some of the stuff that we need to do touchless payment systems, which, really pisses me off because they have to have people out there. I'm not the only one barking about it. There's got to be thousands and thousands of restaurants across the country asking for that right now. And for them not to be able to produce that with their programmers quicker than 6 weeks is astounding to me.
That's tough. Go ahead.
Greg, I have a quick question because we are Aloha right now and we're planning on switching to Toast. We were trying to do that before we reopened.
Yeah, I talked to the owner.
Handhelds?
What's that?
Do you have the handhelds currently?
Yes.
So you can
They cost $600 a piece, and unless you have outstanding Wi-Fi, they do not work. I give those a D+ as far as the ability to use. So,
okay.
You like my grading system?
Yes.
It's amazing.
No.
I talked to
Aloha and Linga haven't been an issue. Linga is a new one based out of Naples that have done a pretty good job. And they've progressed very quickly until we pulled the plug on the locations. But with the handhelds, they were seamlessly. We were able to transition into curbside service with no problem and taking payments and doing everything touchless. Aloha has also been real responsive, but I can only speak to those two. I thought you said Toast was the cutting edge.
They were supposed to be.
Yeah, I heard you say that. Then you gave a D- because we were looking at Toast. I'm glad we didn't go to them now. Linga, we've had our own challenges, but if we have an issue, they fix it the next morning. So they've been very responsive.
I think
we use Toast. I'm sorry, Kristen. Yeah, we use Toast. We switched from Aloha to Toast. Aloha for us was a disaster because of the back end. Toast runs from the cloud. So, but for us from a restaurant and bar model, we really enjoy it. Our service has been good. I know that Toast, I think, laid off a large percentage of their workforce. in recent weeks as well, which may be part of the issues you're running into, Greg. But I will agree that the handhelds are challenging. You know, the handhelds are very challenging. We don't use them in all of our venues. We will as we move forward. Sometimes they're great, and sometimes, yeah, they are challenging. But outside of that, we've been very, very happy with Toast.
Yeah, I agree. At the restaurant level, for what we do, what we have been doing up to this point, Toast was a joy compared to Aloha. But from the online platform, the digital platforms that we're now having to move to, you know, piss poor. You know, the internet, the online ordering, the market baskets, the you know, again, you know, right now we're going, you know, how do you take a payment from somebody, you know, with a no touch system, they cannot get that figured out at all. Not even close. I mean, there's other add-ons that you can do. You know, it's like Apple Pay. How can we not have Apple Pay integrated into a point of sale system at this point? It makes no sense to me. So there are a lot of frustrations on the point of sale side for me.
I think that's a good example of how this forced us outside of what we really should be doing, which is the service, the food,
Right.
the cleanliness. I mean, spending as much time as it sounds like Greg has spent on a system that just pulls you away from your restaurant and those key focuses is unfortunate. I mean, I took a pretty passive approach to it. Aloha, we have Aloha. We've had Aloha forever, probably since Greg was down here. But you know, we
20 years ago.
Yeah, 20. Yeah. They approached us to set up online modules and things like that, and we said, no, listen, we think we can manage it on our own website, do it internally, not worry about the actual ordering, still do that over the phone, and it would allow us to focus on the curbside service or, you know, the order taking part. And, you know, from that perspective, it's worked out well. I think the customers have been satisfied with it. The Venice clientele, you know, they're not all into the online ordering anyway. So a lot of them still like to call us to place their order. So, but from a user perspective, Aloha is pretty simple to have different modules set up for takeout person if you have a limited takeout menu versus in-house ordering. On that angle.
All right, I'm gonna switch things up a little bit. Where do you guys hope to be 3 to 6 months, 12 months, you know, long term? If you had some growth plans in your back pocket that you were working on prior, where are those now? You know, what's the future hold if you had a crystal ball?
Where I hope to be is a beach somewhere other than this one, but business-wise, that's probably not going to be
the hell of a
case.
view, by the way.
Thank you. You know, business-wise, I think there was more excitement about growth because things were going so well. But I do think opportunity will show itself probably later in this year, early next year. We'll see what's out there. I think our locations are pretty special because they're all waterfront, so it'll be hard to you know, move away from something like that. But you know, this being a staffing conference call, I think that there's going to be a lot of really good people that end up looking for jobs, and I hope that's the biggest opportunity we see, is to really shore up some of the future cornerstones of our operation and move forward in that direction, because you got good management, you got some.
There you go. Sorry, let me brand myself real quick. Thank you for that.
About time.
Get you there. I heard you're dropping your rates to 5%, so that's cool.
Yeah. Good one, Justin.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Wow. Hey, Greg and Steve, you've got no room to talk. Justin, you're good.
All right, thanks.
Good.
I think we're going to see a little bit of survival of the fittest. I think, you know, I know, Greg, you said you drove around the other night. I did too. I was in downtown on Main Street here in Sarasota, and, you know, there's places that just opened. So they're just not experienced in that. And I think it's unfortunate that, you know, they're just not doing the right thing. But I also think that, you know, we have something in here we call Chef Trust, that we think that if you've built that confidence with your guests, you know, they don't feel like they're going to be risking a lot going to your restaurant. So, you know, as I kind of polled some people in town to see how busy they were, it just fell right into that category. You know, the people who have been around for a while were doing great. The people who were a little more new were struggling through this. And I think that, you know, you have to build that confidence with your clientele that you're doing the right stuff. But it seems to me that as we talk about who's going to be here down the road, it's going to be the people that are on a Zoom call right now, really worried about what's going on, people who are online every day finding out what they can do and getting as much information to keep their business afloat. But I think it's definitely about earning the trust of your guest. I think there's something, one of you guys mentioned about, maybe it was you, Greg, that to get the health department to come in and really give you an approval, almost like in the cities where you get an A on your window, or in Greg's world, it might be a D minus. To get certified that you have trained your staff COVID ready and get a big orange C and your sticker on a sticker in your window in your restaurant.
Yep.
So when you do cruise down Main Street or you go somewhere, you see a restaurant that's like, wow, they really got their stuff together. They've got a big orange C. They've been COVID trained. They've got experienced staff. It's almost like we can have a new test for our places to see if we can survive this. But I think those things will develop. And I think when we talk about survival of the fittest, this is a time where I hope that restaurants do get together more often. In Sarasota, I'm always trying to keep the community together by doing events. And I think that's going to be important when we're able to kind of get together, is kind of help the ones who are looking like they're slipping off the map a little bit and say, hey, you know, I heard you guys can't get meat from these people or you can't get fish from these people. I'm lending a hand to say, hey, we're here, we're a helping hand restaurant, whatever we could do to help you. Those types of things are really going to, you know, determine who's here in, you know, 6 to 12 months.
Nice.
I agree, Steve. We have a Serve Safe, you know, manager that he actually trains managers on staff. It's Dana. I'm sure you know Dana Johnson. He used to be over at MTI. He runs the bakery for us, and he's Serve Safe manager certified. And what we did with him is he did all the FRLA investigations, all the NRA stuff, made sure that, you know, we totally understood all those guidelines, and he was our internal checker. You know, I put him in charge of making sure that everything was in the right locations, that we had the sanitizer stations. You know, we put tape measures in the dining room, and so we had an internal, you know, guy who went around and did exactly that, and it didn't take long. I mean, you know, he went into the bathrooms, you know, the guest bathrooms, and he goes, hey, wait, you guys missed sanitizer on the wall in the bathrooms. You need to get 2 sanitizers in the bathrooms. You know, so he hip checked the operations, you know, management wise, you know, and that I mean, it was easy, it was quick, it was, you know, he was in and out in 30, 45 minutes, and we had, you know, all of you know, you had masks, you know, you have all the things that you need. You have gloves in the right stations. You have the right type of cleaning solution for the tables, because sanitizer is not enough. What we found is you have to have a hydroxide in a spray bottle with wipes, because we, you know, it's a different level of deep cleaning, you know, and then what's the process, you know, for bussing the table? You know, that was a big one for me. It was like, okay, so people are sitting down at a table. You have to sanitize the whole thing, the chairs, underneath the table, the surface of the table. You know, I mean, it's not just a 1-minute bus reset deal. It's like 4 or 5 minutes at every table after somebody gets up. And you got to use hydrox, I believe it's hydroxide is the product we called Ecolab, and had them installed in all our restaurants. It's like 40%. I don't remember exactly what it is.
Peroxide, it's a peroxide base that disinfects, and then only sits on the table for a minute, and then you can sanitize. Yeah, it works.
Then you sanitize after that. So it's like a 2-step process now to clean the table, which is more involved. You know, I can guarantee you that, I mean, I don't know, 50% of the restaurants don't even know what that is. They don't even know that that's the process that you have to go through. You know, and that's the stuff that you're right, Steve. We need to help try to teach our restaurant community that. And it's you know, and if we can do that, we can save a lot more of these mom and pops that maybe don't know that don't understand that. And, you know, that would be a great job for the FRLA to kind of jump on that, as opposed to just sending us the same stuff that we're hearing everywhere anyway. We already have the information. Stop browbeating us with that. Get out on the road and do something about it. Get out there and visit the restaurants and be a part of that process.
Yeah, people need jobs. People need jobs right now. That might be a great job to start. Somebody to go and give you a seal of approval, give you a sticker, have your service staff stand, and
it goes back to what
I'm with you 100%. 100%.
What Lauren was saying is it takes 5 minutes to turn a table. How are you going to explain that to the guest that's waiting at the door? And it's going back to retraining and everything. Hey, but what you guys were saying about ServSafe, right now, ServSafe has suspended all their fees for retraining our staff and our managers. I don't know if everybody knows that, but if anybody on the call, the attendees that are listening in, it's a great opportunity to retrain your staff at no cost and to recertify your managers. So it's an opportunity. When Scott was asking the positives out of this, we could suspend some of the payment for that. But.
Yeah, I think they're giving you a 90-day ahead of if you're expired too. So.
Yep. So it's good.
One thing about the busing situation that we're doing, in addition to the sanitizing, obviously, that we all have to do, we're doing busser teams of 2. So one is the dirty person removing all the things, and the other person's the sanitizer. So there's no cross-contamination with people. And I think the perception for that will be more positive if people see that there's one person taking all the dirty things and one person only sanitizing.
That's great. The guests will notice that. That's the kind of thing that's a takeaway that we're trying to teach everyone is what's the guest perception, because that's ultimately who we have to get comfortable going into it. And it's also safe for our teams. It shows that we care for our team members because we have one that's doing the dirty work and the other one that's disinfecting, sanitizing. That's awesome.
Hey, Scott, you had asked about, growth plans. We're in a very heavy tourist market in the heart of Little Havana here in Miami. So, we're gonna see what happens. Luckily, we're in Miami where, people aren't afraid to enjoy themselves, and have a few drinks, which definitely is great. But our businesses are very dependent on tourism, and we just don't know what's going to happen with that. How comfortable people are going to feel flying and traveling. Maybe it's people in Florida drive down instead of flying, but we're definitely, not sure about the flow from Latin America or Europe that we typically see a lot of, or even Asia. We actually see a lot in Miami. So, but at the end of the day, our focus is to continue to grow our business. That's never going to stop. It may not be at the complete forefront, but our organization has to grow. And so we'll continue to look for opportunities. There will be opportunities, and that's a sad situation for a lot. But we will look at opportunities to grow our business. At the end of the day, we have to grow in order to attract the best people. That was commented on is really being able to get the talent here in Miami is not always the best talent market. Malcolm may know that. It's very, very hard because it's such a transient city. But in order for us to continue to grow, seeking and obtaining that talent that's going to be out there is definitely going to be part of that process. And I also look at that as our growth, as in a very, very important part of our growth process. Not just looking at new ventures, but also setting up our team and our bench, so to speak, so that when those opportunities come, we have leaders ready to go.
Nice,
excellent.
Meg, somebody was asking about plateware and silverware. Do you all plan on, at least for the short term, using disposable flatware, plates, cups, or are you sticking with where you're at once you're open?
We're going to provide it if guests request it, but we're not going to announce it just because of the cost. If somebody asks for it, of course, we'll have it there for them. But we're not going to announce it or put it up in front of the venue. We're going to use our normal. Now, we will have certain processes that may be a little bit different as far as, when those plates are picked up or cups, they may go to another station before they're finally taken to the dish station in some capacity. We haven't worked that out yet. But yeah, we're just gonna provide it upon request.
Gotcha.
We've also come up with disposable menus. We've converted some of our menus to make those. So if some of our guests request a disposable menu, they don't want to take a menu that we've wiped down, we'll have that available to them. Like Lauren said, it's all about the perception of the guests and making them feel comfortable. And once we get the seats filled in our restaurants, the comfort level is going to go with people walking by and the word on the street. The better job we do internally, the more confidence our guests are going to have coming back.
So another thing that we're doing that I think is pretty cool, we're doing disposable menus, sanitizing regular menus as well, but we created a QR code and I put it on a business card. On one side, it's the QR code so they can scan to view the menu from the comfort of their own device, hands-free with anything other than their own device. On the other side of the business card, I have how they can join the wait list from home or the beach or wherever. They can wait in their car, they can wait from wherever they are, and they're right on our wait list, in line, in queue. The thing that we are anticipating and still deciding exactly how we will notify them when they should head our way, because that's going to come as we experience it once we're open.
QR code.
Would we be wrong in doing bring your own silverware? Somebody said it to me the other day. I was like, that might be genius.
Well,
They bring in their own straws.
People bring their own chopsticks.
And some people bring their own water, so maybe this could be new. BYOF, bring your own fork.
Bring your own flatware. Bring everything.
Bring your own flatware, yeah.
That'll save us on chemicals.
And now I'm going to start designing flatware cases so I can start selling those to bring your own silverware.
Oh my
a couple things for those listening. We're putting our PDF menus on our website, so people can also, just like the QR code, people can access a contactless menu. But also something we looked at, I'm not sure we're going to move forward, but maybe a lot of people will like to look at it, is creating your own app. And within that app, you have your menu, you have your loyalty program, your ability to market to people directly, especially in this time where you have their focus and attention. That could be something. It's not cheap to do that. But it could be something that has legs and could be something that those that are out there could be beneficial in the long term for your business.
I heard I was on another webinar a couple weeks ago, and there was a discussion on putting digital menus up on your wall in lieu of a TV. So you'd have your menu posted on a wall, basically on a screen in the dining room. And it's not going to work for us in our operation, but it could work in some of the smaller operations, kind of like the quick service type of a deal where you can just look up at the menu and if you got a smaller area or arena, you could easily do that and then change it daily if you had a changing menu. So that was one thought. And then one of the things that one of our guests actually brought forward said, wouldn't it be a lot easier to clean like an iPad if you had it as a menu, as opposed to having a traditional book menu? Unfortunately, Applebee's is doing it. Maybe they were really thinking ahead and saw COVID coming, but it would be a heck of a lot easier to wipe down an iPad in a case than it would be, or even putting it, embedding it into your table, and so you have glass on top of the table, you can order on top of the table, and you just wipe down the tabletop and be able to order food. So there's all kinds of crazy ideas going out there because people think that this is going to last a lot long. This may be a permanent deal. I hope not. I hope that this isn't the new norm, but there are people thinking that, and there are people moving in those directions in other states and in larger operations. So just a side note.
Gotcha. It's been an hour, guys. I've got a lot of people are still on, and I've got some questions that people are asking. You guys okay sticking around for another 10 or 15?
Hey,
Sure.
I've got to jump off, guys. Thank you so much, and I wish you guys all the best, and I'd love to stay in touch, so please stay in touch with me, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, Steve, be good.
Thanks, Steve.
Good to see you all. Thanks so much.
Likewise. All right. So how has and will your marketing and advertising change?
I would say that a lot of our current marketing and advertising is sort of directed at consumer education, letting them know what we're doing, letting them know what we're not doing and why we're not doing it. I think there's a lot of, like gloves, right? Everybody wants us to wear gloves, thinking that's the best way to go about things. And I truly, in my heart, don't believe it is. So just consumer education is a big piece. Letting them know what to expect when they get to the restaurant. So like Stephanie was saying, if you have at-home wait lists, letting them know the best way to get a table in your restaurant quickest without waiting in a large crowd. That is really important for us.
I had some, early on this deal, going in and watching people put gloves on at the grocery stores and walking around with gloves, touching everything and not changing their gloves ever. The attendants pulling things through with gloves on, and then the next person that comes through, they're still not changing the gloves. Watching people behind the wheel of their car with gloves on by themselves, in the car by themselves with their mask on and their gloves on, driving down the road thinking that they're safe. I think that, somehow, you can't have a 15-second conversation with somebody about how gloves are spreading more bacteria than a good hand washing policy, and having sanitizer. So we've put we've probably got 15 sanitizer stations in our dining rooms on stanchions throughout. And we've coached our staff to, you go to the table, before you go to the table, you sanitize, you make contact with the table, you leave the table, you sanitize again. And so hopefully that will teach our guests that, we're safer than gloves. Yes, there are some things that we'll present the check with a glove on because the guest touches that, but then we remove the glove. The education that needs to happen. And fortunately, FRLA has been beating down legislation for years, trying to prevent the need for, because they're pushing to, everybody wears gloves all the time, which is stupid. It's a dumb idea. People are getting their hands dirty. They get chicken juice on their hand. They don't feel it. As chefs, as culinarians, we know we're tactile, right? We touch things. We're when you bump into something and you got chicken juice, it's on your hand. With a glove on, you don't know that it's on your hand. You can't feel it, so educating is a big deal. So I get on tangents about it, but the point is that we've got to figure out how to mitigate that. So what we did was we started a alternate hand washing procedure with the FRLA. So what we're going to do is go through every station in our restaurant and get it certified that you don't have to wear gloves, because we have an ample hand washing procedure. The health department comes in, puts a stamp on that particular station in the restaurant saying, okay, you guys are good. You don't have to wear gloves. And, and grill station would be the only place where you'd have to use gloves because you're touching raw meats, so we're working on that through all of our, so if anybody ever has a question, oh, how come you're not wearing gloves? Well, we have this alternate hand washing procedure that we've done. So we'll never get dinged because an employee isn't wearing gloves. So that was a big deal for us. And we're moving rapidly to certify all of our facilities with that alternate operating procedure for hand washing. So, just to protect ourselves, even if we don't ever have to pull it out, at least it's there.
We do sushi, and sushi is really hard to roll in gloves. So we've been kind of practicing that and using that same thing. And it's great. I mean, it's just, again, it's about educating the guests on those misconceptions of, hey, a glove is safer than a washed hand. That's complete false, right?
Right.
Not everybody is a microbiologist now, right? And it doesn't take a microbiologist to understand, contact surfaces. So.
Right. Yeah, and unfortunately, Justin, it's a 5-minute conversation with each and every guest that comes through. That's the struggle, right? And so it's getting legislators and politicians and the people that are mandating this stuff to really truly understand that. And I mean, God knows if we'll ever be able to do that after this, but at least we know as operators, what's right.
So right or wrong, at least for phase 1, knowing that we can't educate everybody, we're going to do the gloves. We're training our staff the proper use of gloves, and those conversations that we have with guests, we will also use to educate people. But it's important to us, at least for phase 1, that at least the perception gives them confidence in what we're doing. we know that we're doing it in the right way, and we know that they feel that the gloves are be all end all safety. So we'll use them in the right way, but we want their perception or any photos that might be taken or anything to let everyone know that they can have confidence at Pops.
Yeah, and again, Stephanie, just because we've been open for a couple days, you know, the difficulty with that is going to be your staff, getting them to understand how to do that and following those guidelines that you set forth. That's going to be, that's the real struggle. That's what we found on the first day. It got a little bit better yesterday. I'm really interested to see how much better they got today. So it's, you know, it's a ramp up for sure. You know, to get the staff to get the staff.
Hey, Scott, our marketing will stay the same, but we will market a little bit more on, you know, things that we are doing within our four walls, just to provide that that safety aspect. But other than that, our marketing will pretty much stay the same.
Good.
As before.
Very good. You guys, as far as your leases go, your landlords, those of you that have them, are you getting any type of breaks? You know, let's say in a week or two, you guys are at 50% capacity. Can you pay 50% rent, or how does that working out?
My two landlords are the City of Venice and the Sarasota County, so a little bit different going through them. Sarasota County was very proactive and actually issued us a rent abatement for 45 days, which was great. So we really appreciate that. The City of Venice has been talking about their financial woes for the upcoming budget, which it's like, okay. So we're trying to work with them on how we can sort of meet in the middle. Like, hey, we need this rent abatement. We need to give this money to our staff. But maybe we don't do it on this fiscal budget for them. We wait till their October fiscal budget. So hopefully these conversations will move forward. I mean, all of our landlords have multiple concessionaires. So whatever they do for us, we expect them to do for everybody else too.
Gotcha.
And we have one of our leases at Pure Lease is City of Bradenton. So they were great with working with us. And then our other lease is with Lakewood Ranch Commercial, and they did a really nice job of understanding, you know, what's happening out in that market as well. So yeah, we were a little bit lucky. Everything could have been better, of course, right? But you know, they did work with us. And our Tropicana Bells operation, you know, we're just there. You know, they're helping us try to, you know, feed their employees. So of course they worked with us. You know, they always work with us. It's a beautiful thing.
Awesome. So you give
I should add for us that, hey, Scott, I want to add for us, just the City of Venice. One of the things they did for us was allow us to open up a food truck. So kind of what Greg was just saying, at least they helped us find ways to generate business through other avenues. So that was helpful. Maybe not on the rent side, but.
Didn't you say you did more in food truck one time than one day and you didn't carry out?
Yeah, we did. Our first day we opened the food truck, kind of like Lauren was talking about, you know, we opened up thinking, okay, maybe we'll do 25 people today. We did 250 the first day. So it was, you know, again, social distancing. You can only put so many people in a truck. So it caught us off guard. We learned our lesson.
Yeah.
I had a food truck once about 8 years ago. We sold it after about a month.
Yeah. Definitely not a good business model for us.
Kudos, Justin. You did a much better job than I did with your food truck.
Our landlords are also our ownership group. So that's been helpful. And that's a little something we all could probably learn from that. If we ever get into having our own venues, we should also purchase the building.
Nice.
Hey, a little bit, you know, sideways here. Maybe this is a super obvious question, but as recapturing your previous guest counts isn't going to happen anytime soon, how many of you are anticipating menu increases on the pricing?
We were, go ahead, Mike or Justin.
Oh, he called me my dad already.
Yeah, I know. You already look like him.
It's the hair.
It is.
You know, I mean, I think we all hope for it, but I don't anticipate increasing guest count anytime soon. Even when we get the green light for 100%, I think being a tourism driven area, we're just not going to see the traffic the same way. Maybe we get the uptick in the takeout side, but again, like our Sharky's Kitchen, there's definite constraints in how much business we can actually do. So I don't think takeout will become the focus, and just trying to regain normalcy by next season would be best case scenario.
But do you see menu prices going up because of all that?
Oh yeah. I mean, just the fluctuations in the markets right now are going to be complete chaos. I mean, printing a disposable menu is as much a benefit for me as it is for the customer getting something that's clean, because the price on beef, pork, produce, all those things are going to change. So, I mean, we might see week to week menu increases. And I'm sure everybody was already kind of looking at it forward thinking because of the labor, the $15 an hour minimum wage votes that were coming up. So whether it's food or labor costs, something was gonna jump our menu prices this year anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna stay fluid, I think. The one thing that we have considered is a surcharge for the sanitation and all the additional costs to keeping tables clean. I've heard a lot of other restaurateurs I've been talking to have also considered a surcharge. We've been asking our guests as well. A couple of our guests out of Grow, loyal guests, said, would you be willing to pay a surcharge, a $5 surcharge on every ticket for the additional cleaning products, the sanitation that we have to have, all the additional, costs associated with keeping our facilities clean. And I have had not one of our regular guests say, that's a bad idea. They've all been, yeah, I would totally pay that. And, by the way, I plan on tipping your employees double what I tipped them before. So, servers that are working over at Grove now are finding that, the gratuities are, 30, 40% as opposed to, 18 or 20. So that is happening out there too. I don't know how long that'll last. But that is something that's being put out there at this time.
We're seeing that a lot in carryout too, even a lot of
right.
There's a lot of questions here. How many of you have a customer mailing or a social media relationship to your guests? As far as you guys have ways to get in touch with them?
Yep,
yeah,
we do. We use eBlast, Constant Contact, and Facebook.
Like loyalty program type stuff also, I would assume.
No.
Actually, I think Grove, you guys do that, right? I've got a Grove card.
Say that again. I was not paying attention. I was looking for water.
Yeah, Toast has a good platform for that. Toast actually does that pretty well.
Oh, do they? Hey, you guys have a Grove dining card or whatever you call it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, are you able to get all the information from all that so that you can blast stuff? Nice.
Yeah, one cool thing that we found from our grocery market that we were doing, we had a lot of people come from the grocery. We obtained, just by selling groceries, they had to put their email address in to buy groceries. We obtained about, one of the positives, we obtained about 1,600 new email addresses through this. So that was really nice. So, that gave us a huge boost with the, that Toast Tab app that you have to put in your email address. So anything that was ordered, a lot of new customers, a lot of new guests that were using some of our services. So that was a big win.
Awesome. You guys think the summer season in Florida will be stronger than most?
I believe so. I believe when it comes back, I think the summer will be busier than previous summers. Maybe not June, July, but I think August, September, October, which are really abysmal months. In Florida, not as bad as June, but, late summer, I think a lot of people are going to decide to stay at home and do staycations. We have a lot of our clientele that, has second homes, in North Carolina or some of those places. I think they'll continue to go to those places, because they'll just drive instead of fly. But I think that a lot of the, white collar, blue collar folks that usually take a vacation or go on cruises, aren't going to be doing that this year. I think they're going to be staying at home. So I think my hope is that we have a much stronger summer than we have in past. As long as we can get to 100% occupancy, of course, and I can get all of my banquet facilities back open. And sorry, my battery's running low. Did you lose me?
No, for 2 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. you know, we put a lot of, we took a big bet on ballroom space, you know, over at Grove. You know, we have 350 seat ballroom over there, and you know, we lost all that business in its entirety, of course, up to this point. And one of my hopes is that business will start to come back. Interesting enough, we read the code on that. A ballroom or a banquet hall is considered a congregation hall, which lines up to churches and other things. So as long as I keep 6 foot distance between tables, I can continue to serve in that ballroom. So that was some good news. So I can start booking parties again, because that's a big deal for us. We do, you know, probably 3,000-4,000 events a year, catered events, and so that's a huge part of what we do. And you know, losing that was a big shiv in the kidney.
I think it'll be a little bit. Me personally, I think, again, like going through Red Tide, I think it took a Red Tide season to not happen for people to get that confidence to come back out. So we might see a little bit of that. It might take until summer of 2021. Like I said, best case scenario I'm hoping for is back to 100% regular business, you know, last year versus last year, coming up next season.
Are any of you in touch with people, I suppose, in the know that, you know, we wouldn't be, that giving you any kind of ballpark idea as to when these phases are going to happen?
I've heard, you know, 1 to 2 weeks, depending on where it falls. I've also heard that they may open it up county by county, you know, and allow counties to go to phase 2 on their own. So I've heard multiple deals from coming out of the FRLA. None of them, you know, building any real confidence in how long it's going to last. I think it's still really fluid, and I think they're making decisions day by day. I don't think that they're thinking, you know, any type of long term. Phase 1 was real easy to do. It was kind of like just, you know, pull the ripcord on it with the regulations. But I think phase 2, they're going to take a lot more into consideration before they make any changes, is what I'm hearing. Again, it's just what I'm hearing. There's no golden pie in the sky that's going to tell us exactly what's going to happen. It's not. It's just not going to be that.
You guys know a lot of people, so I just thought maybe I mean, gosh, we're just waiting for some people to come cut our hair at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, there's still some questions on there. We can go on forever, but I think maybe if there's any kind of final things, any thoughts you guys have. First of all, I couldn't be any more appreciative that you guys joined us. I think we might do this again. I think it was a success. Everybody's learning from everybody. I was going to say this before Steve got off, but we're as the recruiters that are an extension, I should say, of your businesses, are continually telling people to buy gift certificates from your establishments. We try to get there for carry out. We're telling everybody who we work with. And so it's important that we continue to stay partnered with you. And so that's about it from us. So unless you have anything else. No, Lauren, sorry.
No, I was just going to say thanks for having us. It was an honor to be here with all of you. And, you know, I look forward, you know, if anybody needs anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. But thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thanks again
Thank
for
you.
everybody.
Hey, guys.
Have a great day.
You guys, thank you.
Oh,
Thanks
bye,
very
Steve.
much.
Nice seeing you.
Okay, take care.
Thanks.
See you guys.